Hello again, YouTube. Let's begin with our next example, okay? And in front of us we have this question here, and it's what is it asking? Well, let's go through what it's asking. So, what is the latency of an R-type instruction? I.e., how long must the clock period be to ensure that this instruction works correctly? Okay, and then what are we given? Well, we're given our nice little flow diagram of the hardware. In addition, this table of how long it takes for each block. Okay, so let's begin. What is the latency of an R-type? So let's think about this here, okay? Well, how is an R-type instruction broken down? Okay, let me just change that a little bit. So first, we have the PC and the instruction memory. The PC takes the PC and it gets the instruction at that address in the instruction memory, okay? So we're going to have a register read. Why is it a register? Well, why are we starting at a register read? Well, like I just said, we're going to have the PC counter, and it's going to read one of the registers inside the instruction memory to retrieve that instruction, which we then are going to use to, fill out the rest of our flowchart here. So to begin, we're reading an address. So we're reading it from PC. So this is R-type. So we're going to start with 30 because we're reading it, okay? Next, we're going to have that instruction read from the instruction memory. So that instruction memory is going to take some time to essentially construct and retrieve the instruction for us to be able to use it. So that, according to this, is 250 picoseconds. So we're going to have a read, which takes 30 picoseconds, and then 250 picoseconds for the instruction memory to, do its thing. Next, we're going to go with that instruction. We're going to go into, going forward, we should start thinking of stuff into like sections, okay? So we're going to have this section, which is the next section, okay? So everything that's within this box essentially can be all computed at the same time, okay? Because, well, this takes the longest amount of time, right? So anything, these other blocks like the immediate gen or the control, it takes less time than the registers itself. So if we're using those blocks, it can be done, its computation can be done within the register time, okay? So we're going to go to the registers and we're going to read the registers, and then we're then going to we're going to read the registers, go to those registers and read the data, okay? So that itself is going to take 150 picoseconds, okay? And going forth, well, we have another, we're just going to leave that there. So we're going to have 150 picoseconds, and then we're going to go forward to our next little block. What's our next little block? It's this. I'm trying to draw it all nice. It's going to be this block right here. Okay, that's our next little block. So within this block, that we have a mux, and we are going to use that mux. So we're going to have 25. We can't just bypass it. So we are going to have 25 for the mux. And which mux am I talking about specifically? I'm talking about this mux right there. Okay, so going forward, after this 25, we're then going to the ALU. Why? Because it's an R-type, so we're then, adding, maybe subtracting, and or these kind of ALU instructions or operations are going to be computed on the data that we have read. Okay, so we're going to the ALU. How long does the ALU take? It takes 200 picoseconds. Okay, next, we don't need to go to the data memory. Yes, there will be some information sent there, but we aren't using it. We don't care about it. We don't want to give it time. we don't have that much time of day to give it. So we're gonna go and bypass it, and we're gonna go to the mux right here, okay? And we're gonna go to that mux. So that's gonna be another 25 picoseconds. And we're then going to use that mux selected as 0. So we are able to, once again, we're gonna go all the way back to the write data. And we're gonna write some data onto our registers again, okay? And since we're doing that, it's going to then take like a register setup. Apparently it takes 20 picoseconds. So we're gonna have another 20 picoseconds. And in total, if you just take your calculator, it's gonna be 30 plus 250 plus 150 plus, I don't even need a calculator. 250 plus 150 is 400. 400 plus 200 is 600. And then we're gonna have 30, 20, which is 50, and then 25, 25. So we get 700, and 700 indeed is the answer. So 700 picoseconds for the R type. That's the latency of the R type, okay? That's the total latency. Going forward, we have a load instruction, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and erase everything on here because we're gonna have a different data path for the load instruction, okay? So the load instruction, well, it's an instruction. So again, we're going to have the PC read an address, which again is going to take 30 picoseconds. Where is it reading that address from? It's reading it from the instruction memory, and it's taking that, the PC, it's going to that address inside the instruction memory, and it's retrieving that instruction, sorry. And that apparently takes 250 picoseconds, okay? Going forward, again, we're going to send some information to this immediate generator. We're also going to send some of the instruction to the control, and of course we're going to send some instructions to these read and write. Okay, so now all of that computation, the immediate gen, the registers, and the control, all of that can be done in 150 picoseconds. Okay, so now we've done that computation, we've we've done our sign extension, we've turned our immediate value, and we go and we're going to go up to this mux here. Why are we going to this mux? Well, we're going to send this read data, register data 2. We're going to send that to the right for later, and it's also going to the mux, but we don't want to select that one. We want to select our immediate value, okay? So we can add it to our base address. Excuse me, so we can know what information we're trying to load. So once again, we're not going to skip this. Okay, it's this block right here, and it goes all the way up to here, and it does include this mux. So that's 25 picoseconds. All right, going forward, we have the ALU, the computation. What computation is being done in load? Well, we're going to have a base address, and we are loading the immediate, or we're adding, sorry, the immediate value to our base address, so we know what address we are reading data from. So that ALU takes 200 picoseconds. Okay, next, after that computation, we're going to the address, and that address is whatever value plus the immediate value, which gives us the address inside the data memory. Okay, and we are essentially going to read, oh wait, damn, I made a mistake. I either have to edit this video or make a new video. No, honestly, I'll just explain my mistake. The mistake I made earlier was this read data. This read data is irrelevant. Why? Because we're loading something. That read data doesn't really exist. That read data that I was talking about earlier, that's going to go over here for the write data, it doesn't really matter. We're actually going to use it for the destination register of the value we loaded, okay? So that's where the write data is going to be. So anyway, back to calculating the latency. We're going to go to this address. After the ALU, we're going to the data memory, and the data memory takes 250 picoseconds for its computation. After that, inside the data memory, what's happening is it's taking that base address with the added immediate value. It's going to that address, and it's going to read that data, and that takes 250 picoseconds. It then sends that data to this MUX, and also the result of that base address plus the immediate value is going to the MUX, but we don't want to select it, so it's going to take 25 picoseconds to select the right information or set that input to 1. So that's going to be 25 picoseconds. We are then going to take our data that we read from the memory, and we're going to go all the way back here and write it. So that's going to take another 20 picoseconds. And again, we're just going to add it up here. We're going to have 250 plus 150. That gives us 400. 400 plus 200 is 600. 600. And that's going to be 850. After 850, we have 25 and 25, which is 900. Plus 20 plus 30, which is 950 picoseconds. Let me check if that was the right answer. 950 picoseconds is indeed the answer. So that is, without a doubt, how the load instruction is, or the load data path works. Okay, going forward, we have the store data, or store double, sorry. Store double data path, okay? So store data path, it starts off pretty much the same as everyone. Say it with me, folks. So we're gonna have the PC. It's gonna have some value, and that value is the location of the instruction. So that's gonna take a whole 30 seconds. All right, no, not 30 seconds, 30 picoseconds. Sorry, 30 picoseconds. Let me stop, have a moment to catch my breath and have a drink. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's going to be 30 picoseconds. Again, we're taking that instruction, and it's going to go to this section here. Let me just clear this data path. So we have PC instruction memory, and we're going to have some immediate value. We're going to have 2 of these instructions, and they go to the register, and that's going to be, well, sorry, the 250, this is 250. This part right here is 30. So we're going to have 30, 250 plus the register again, and inside, during that time of, reading the registers, the immediate value and the control computation can be done. So again, we're going to have another 150. Now this is where things start to get interesting again. So again, we're going to have this MUX. We can't forget about it, right? The ALU control, all of this. It happens within 25 picoseconds. Next, ALU. Why are we using the ALU? Well, we're storing data, so it's going to have some base address plus some immediate value, okay? And that is going to give us another 200 picoseconds. Now going forward, we're going to the data memory, and inside that data memory, we're just going to have 250, and that's about it. Why? Because, well, every information that's sent here, we don't really care about it, since we're only storing stuff inside the data memory, right? So that essentially concludes the store double, which is 250 plus 150 is 400 plus 200 is 600. 6 plus 2 is 8. Plus 50 is 850. Plus 55 is 905. For those of you watching from the 905, thank you. I appreciate it. And that indeed is the answer. So going forward, we have I-type. So what is the... Oh, no, I skipped one. You know which one I skipped? I skipped branch equal. So how does the branch equal work? So essentially, this is kind of new. We're going to use this one eventually, that AND gate right there. But until then, we're just going to start at the beginning. So right here, we're going to have some PC address. That PC address is a location within the instruction memory. So that's going to be 30 plus 250. We're retrieving that instruction from the instruction memory, and we're then going to break it down to its individual parts, which goes to the registers, the immediate, and the control. Well, actually, we're not using the immediate. This one, we're not using the immediate. So we're just going to, once again, write 150 to allow time for that computation to be done. And again, we're going to go to this mux. This mux is basically used for everything, especially with this structure that we have, this single cycle structure. So this mux is going to be used. So that's going to be another 25 picoseconds. And the interesting part is we select 0, so we can send one address or one value there, and we get another value there. What's happening inside the ALU here? Well, there's computation being done, so that's going to be another 200. Essentially what's happening is we're going to subtract the two values, and if we get a value that is not 0, so if we get a value that is not 0, then the computation is done and we just go on to PC plus 4. But for our circumstances, we're going to assume that, we subtract the two values. And why? Because it would take longer. If the two values are 0, then we are branching. So we're assuming that we did get 0 from our subtraction. So we're going to go up here, and we're going to have a logic gate. And that logic gate, or single gate, takes 5 picoseconds, okay? So we're going to allow 5 picoseconds to happen for that logic gate. And then we're going to go to this mux. Why are we going to this mux? Well, because this is a 1 value. No, what? Is it AND gate? It is an AND gate. So it is an AND gate. So if this is 0 and this is 0, what? That's not how that works. We need them both to be 1s. So I'm assuming that when they're both 0, that this gets sent out as a 1, because it is true that they're both 0, and then this one is a 1, because that's the only way that this makes it a 1. So then it goes to this mux, which is a 1, and because it goes to a mux, it's going to be plus 25 picoseconds. And again, it says here that we're going to have to go back around and set up this register. What register are we setting up? The PC register. Why? Because it's simply not PC plus 4. We have a brand new register that it could be like 100, like incremented by 100 to get there, or it could just be incremented by 4. So we don't know. So we have to essentially write over our register So that's going to be another 20. And when we count it all up, it's going to be 250, 150, 400, 600. It's going to be 705 picoseconds, which in fact is the answer. Now we have another one, and that's going to be the I-type. So I-type. What is the I-types? How does an I-type work? Well, first, let's think, what are the I-types that are possible? We have like shift logic, we have shift logic immediate, we have the add immediates, we have all of those are I-types. Okay? Branch greater than is also another I-type. So let's think about this. Once again, we have some PC address, and that PC address is a location within the instruction memory. So we're gonna have 30 plus 250. Okay, then with that information, we're gonna go to the registers for all of this section to allow it time for its computation. So it's going to be another 200. Okay, going forward, we have another mux. Okay, to select the right data depending on what it's selecting, if it's selecting a media value or not. So that's going to be another 25. Again, I reversed the order of these two. I hope you guys don't mind. Which two did I reverse? This one and this one. No. Actually, I said it wrong. It should be plus 150 plus 25. 150 for the registers, 25 for the mux, and then plus 200 for the ALU. Now after that, the ALU, depending on what type it is, it's either going to go to, well, for our case, we're just going to say it goes to this mux right here, so it's going to be another 25, and we're going to need plus 20 for it to be written back to the register. So in conclusion, this one is also going to be 700 picoseconds. Now the final question it asks, what is the minimum clock period for the CPU? Now we want to choose the longest time for a minimal clock cycle. Why? Well, because we want to allow time for the longest type of instruction, which in this case is load. So, excuse me, the answer to this one is 950 picoseconds because it is the longest one.